What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Let's Build the U.S.S. Voyager Season 1, Episode 31. I'm Zero Elite, and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. And if you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, helping me and supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Today we've got about a 20-minute episode. We're going to be making a slight adjustment to the outline of our pylons on the sides here. And then we are going to be getting into putting Voyager on a diet and trying to cut down about 30 or 40 pounds off of her. Now, before we get into that part of it, I'm just going to throw a disclaimer out, because from time to time when I make significant changes to my build, I'll have some people that get mad at me because they don't want to make that change. So those of you that do not want to make this change, and you're happy with the outline of Voyager, you don't want to do it, skip this step. You don't have to. These are just suggestions on things that you could do, and this is something that is just bothering me, and it's going to bother me until I fix it. So for my own sanity, we're going to be fixing that, or starting to fix it today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump right into it. Now, I talked about this in the last episode when we were working on the outline, like the sides here, like, I don't know, they weren't right where they needed to be, and I was maybe thinking, okay, what I could possibly do to get around this, maybe I can try to go in one or two more rows with the cut before starting this pattern. So that's more or less the idea, what I'm toying with right now. So when you're in situations like this, do yourself a favor, make a couple of extra save files just so you have them, so that this way, with the changes that you're making, if you're not satisfied with them, you can revert back to that previous save. No harm, no foul, basically. And as you can see here, I'm following the same exact pattern that I had before. I just brought it in one more row to try to tighten it up a little bit, and then I'm going to zoom out and see how it looks. I'm telling you, this is such a simple step, but when you start to incorporate this in your builds, this is why I say, like, you'd be surprised how often you can stumble upon greatness just by being willing to try new things. Because at the end of the day, I'll be the first one to admit, I am not perfect. I'm just human. I make mistakes just like anybody. And part of the way that I build sometimes is through that trial and error process. Honestly, it's vital for these builds, for me anyway, because if I didn't go through that trial and error process on some of these builds, my ships would look so much different than how they actually look. And I mean, the only downside to it is, like, yeah, you have to backtrack here and there sometimes, but you know what, it is what it is. My attitude towards it is, I would rather backtrack and have something that I'm happy with, as opposed to building something out and then not being fully satisfied with it, because then at that point it's just literally gonna bug me until I fix it. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I'm doing this just as something to relax, and it helps to take my mind off stuff that's going on, whatever I have in my personal life that's bothering me. Hopping on Minecraft and focusing on something else for just even a few hours is so therapeutic and really help you out there. And that's honestly the main reason why I do this. And that's why a lot of the times I'm really not sweating making mistakes here and there. Like, I can get past it. I learned with the Enterprise D that when I rebuilt it, that you do not have to build what I have here block for block. As long as you're following the gust of what I'm doing, you're going to be in good shape. You can have slight variations here and there. It's okay to make a mistake with a block here and there. Don't beat yourself up. This is supposed to be a fun experience. You know what I mean? But anyway, I think that's actually looking pretty good. We're slowly getting there with Voyager. We've got our outline for our pylons. I think now, if I'm not mistaken, we are going to be moving on to Voyager's weight loss program. Yeah, because just, you won't see it from here, but like when you look at it from a top-down view or back view, like you can really see it. So basically what we're going to be doing is this cut line right here. This is where we're going to start to make the change. And this cut line is where, just before it meets the top part of the saucer section. And all we're going to do is we're going to go with that cut, and we're going to delete that whole line going all the way around. Because basically what we're going to be getting ready to do here is that right now, the way that we have the shell of the lower hull going forward, it's going with the cut outwards. So it's causing Voyager to have much more of a hefty look to her when she should be a little bit more streamlined in this area. So what we're going to try to do to see how this looks, we're going to go in with a cut. Now unfortunately, what that's going to cause is some work here. Now I do want to rewind because I don't think I pointed this out, and I really want to point it out here. Okay. Now as you can see, I've got some my light, I forget what they're called off the top of my head, I'm sorry, the light blocks. You can see I have my light blocks going with a cut line here at an angle. This is going to come into play. You don't necessarily have to have this part right here, because I'll show you guys when we're going to stop. But essentially what I did here is that I want to have Voyager going more at an angle for the lower hull. I guess that's actually not too important what we're doing right now, but I just wanted to point that out. So we're going all the way around with our cut line, and we're going to delete basically everything going forward. Not going backwards, but everything going forwards. We're going to delete all this. Now one of the things we want to make a point not to delete in the very middle here, these two blocks going down in the gray. We're going to keep that there because that's going to be a reminder to me where the lip starts for the lower hull and the front. Go with that transition point. We're going to make sure to keep that. But unfortunately, everything else going forward on this cut line we're going to delete. Now when you're done with this, you're going to notice that we're going to have our turbo lifts that are just hanging there. Do not delete those. We will get into that, and I'll show you guys how we can make an adjustment. Believe it or not, we're actually not going to have to do too much with them. We're just going to have to shave off a couple of rows to make it work once we have our new hull in place. Okay, so now I've skipped forward to after I've deleted all of that. So if you haven't done so, you're going to want to go ahead and start doing that now. So what I'm doing here is I'm counting out my pattern. It's going to be a row of 7, or excuse me, not a row of 7, a row of 11. So what we're going to do, instead of going out with the cut, we're going to go in with the cut. But we're going to do 7 rows of 11 going in with the cut. And if you're not sure exactly what I mean by that, going in with a cut, watch me. So we count at 11, we go in with a cut, and then we count at 11. If you're not sure, go back and double check it, just like I'm doing right here. Now, believe it or not, what I'm getting ready to do here, I haven't necessarily done on my tutorials. This was a new process that actually started kind of wireframing it out, which we do. We do it all the time when we're wireframing, but I've never done it in this way before. Basically, rebuilding a section and doing the wireframe is a great way to foresee how it's going to go, more or less. So if you start working on a couple of build points, so to make an object 3D, we do our sides, In this case, left and right middle, which is what we're doing, and then we're going to do the bottom. And I'll show you the cut lines that we'll do on the bottom to start to develop that 3D shape. But believe it or not, the hard work here has already been done. We already have our template for the outline of the lower hull, because we're going to be just following the pattern that we currently already have. The only thing that we're adjusting here is, instead of it going out with the cut line, we're going in with the cut line, counting back 11, and we're doing a total of 7 rows on both the left side and the right side. As long as you're doing this, you cannot make a mistake. If you did make a mistake, go back and check your work. And look, if a block's off by 1 on the left and right, no biggie, just go back and change it. Because even after everything's all said and done with Voyager, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm still only probably like 93% happy with her. I'm thinking about, like, there might be some areas when I do season 2 of Voyager that I might redo, like the deflector dish. I wasn't 100% happy with how the final version of it looked. The shape of it looked great and everything, but I think I made it just a little bit too big. I think I need to shave down a couple of rows on the outside outline of the deflector dish, just to tighten it up just a little bit more, and then I think we'll be in good shape. And there's some other areas, minor things, but I think at this point, even when we do season 2 of Voyager, the changes that we make cosmetically will be minor. The most significant changes that we're going to be doing on this is in season 1. And, you know, it kind of is what it is, you know. I don't understand it sometimes when I get people I'll comment on here talking crap, because, like I said, they don't like, for whatever reason, that I make changes to my build as I'm going. And it's like, I mean, I have never come across a builder in any game period where they can build something for the first time around and it's absolutely perfect and there's no changes or updates that they want to make to it. It's a learning process. And if you are that good, I mean, listen, more power to you. But for me, that trial and error process is so vital to the build. Because, you know, like I said earlier, it helps us to stumble upon greatness and being willing to try out different things that maybe you might not have necessarily thought of the first go around. Because again, that ties back into one of my original rules. Sometimes you just got to throw something down and see how it looks, and then you make the changes that you need to make. It is what it is. Alright, so now we're going to be going with the bottom row, and basically what I'm doing here, we're not doing anything fancy. We're in the very bottom. I'm just going with each corner of the very bottom row, so the left side and the right side. We're going to repeat the same process that we just did, counting at 11, going in or going up with the cut, essentially. Instead of going in, we'll be going upward. Now, I'm not going to be filling in all the gaps row to row, but I am taking the time to build out the template with you guys in real time so that you can be on the same page with me. Now, you'll see, because some of this I am going to build out just to make sure that everybody is on the same page, but when we start to get to the redundant points where it's just literally going with a cut line and filling in the gaps, I'm not going to do that stuff in real time. Now, since we're doing the template for the bottom row, the wireframe, we're approaching that point where you're going to start to see how much of the turbo lifts that we're actually going to be losing. And to be honest with you, it's not that big of a deal. We're losing one deck. That's it. Not a big deal at all. And I can live with that, because I don't build these ships out in accuracy by any means. I just kind of, to be honest with you, the way that I build these ships, and I've never quite thought of it this way before, It's very similar to like when I'd be drawing something, because I have an artistic background, and normally what I would do when I'd be drawing a picture is that I'd have references that I'd be looking at, because as an artist, having those details to visually look at can help your piece come out so much better. And it's no different within Minecraft, but at the same time excuse me, at the same time, those references, that's exactly what it is. I'm not trying to stay 100% accuracy within what I'm looking at. I'm just using it as a loose reference to give me some ideas on detailing. But at the end of the day, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And look, there are people that do build these ships out 110% within continuity, and I say God bless them. You guys are awesome for taking the time to do that. Yeah, I could honestly do that too, but like, one of the things I truly love about building these ships out in the way that I build them is having that creative freedom to do whatever I want. And that honestly is something that has just been so freeing when I finally just came to that realization I'm building on here, when I just decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to try to stay within canon. I'm going to use stuff as a reference, and as long as it feels like that ship, I'm good with it. So alright, we've got our template more or less in place for the weight loss program for Voyager. Keep making a joke about it, but honestly I don't know what else other than call it at this point. Voyager, when we started working on her and got her finished, the first initial run, she kind of let herself go, and we have no choice but to put her on a forced weight loss program because we love her and care about her. And look, I can joke around with about stuff like that because I'm a heavy set guy, but I do mean that in the most lighthearted way. But no, like, this just goes right back into why it can be so vital to have those references, because it can help you to guide you where you need to go. I don't really know where what else to say other than that. I try to talk about a lot of this stuff, and some of it I might blabble on a little bit, and I apologize, but some of this stuff isn't so cut and dry. I think there's a reason why you don't see a lot of people doing tutorials like this, because explaining the process isn't always so cut and dry. That's why a lot of the times when I can't exactly explain the method and what I'm doing, I'll be discussing what I'm trying to do and what my thought process is behind it, because I'm just trying to get you guys in the same mindset that I'm in, and maybe start thinking about the same things that I do when I'm working on my build. And I do feel that that stuff helps, because I have people messaging me all the time telling me that they hadn't even necessarily realized it, but they'll be catching themselves when they're doing, like, not even just like their own like side project or whatever, and they'll catch themselves following some of the steps that we do when we're doing the tutorial. And I mean, it's kind of a good thing, because this is why I say, you know, the more you build on here, the better you're eventually going to be. These trial and error periods and these mistakes, you know, I'm probably beating a dead horse at this point, and I'm not attacking anybody or anything. I'm just trying to get people to see, the ones that try to go off of perfection, that you're shortchanging yourself. You really are, because these mistakes is what helps us to be better builders. So embrace those mistakes. You know, don't beat yourself up because something isn't adding up right, and whether it's your maybe you're a stickler for having things match up perfectly or whatever, and I mean, that's fine and all, but if I can make a suggestion with that, hold off judgment until you're done. You know what I mean? And it's good to judge your stuff, because without it, we can't make the changes that we're even making right now. So be judgy on your stuff, but don't be too judgy until it's a done deal, is what I'm trying to get at here. Because again, you know, like I said, this is all just a learning experience, and it's intended to be a fun experience at the same time. But there have been people that have been following me on my channel since the beginning, and trust me, I wouldn't set you guys on the wrong path. And I'm genuinely trying to, more or less what I'm trying to do is show you guys what I do, show you my mistakes, and how to fix them, because I'm trying to save you from making those mistakes, but going through those mistakes with me, believe it or not, it's inevitably going to help you. It's that trial and error process. I learned that from building my original 2009 Enterprise. I rebuilt, like, I don't talk about it a lot, but I rebuilt that ship like 5 times. It was just a trial and error process of learning, like, okay, what works, what doesn't work. This isn't working, let's go back and fix it. And eventually, that's more or less how I came up with my rules to building, just working on the 2009 Enterprise. But still, like, you're going to be faced in scenarios where maybe some of the building techniques that you'd use on a Constitution class don't really apply to an Intrepid class, and you kind of got to just go with it and try to spin your tires until you land on something that you want to land on. That's honestly the best way I can describe it. Okay, so getting back in a little bit what we got going on here, you can see that we had to shave away a couple of the rows of the turbo lift, and the reason I did that is because our new pattern is going to intersect with that. But again, we're not really losing all that much. We just lost a deck out of it, and that's not a big deal. And I'm showing you guys how I'm wireframing this out so that you can go in and do the same thing. But like I said, I'm not going to fill in the gaps for all of this. I'm going to leave some of this closed in so that or excuse me, I'm going to leave a lot of this blank so that this way when you guys can honestly just fill it in. Alright, so now you can see I've skipped forward and I've added in 1, 2, 3 rows. I just went ahead and I filled in off camera. You can see I messed up there. I used the wrong block. So let's go back to the block of quartz. And just stay with me here. Fill in what I fill in so that this way you guys can have the exact same thing that I have. So now we're going to be working, if I'm not mistaken, filling in the upper rows. I don't think we're going to go in and do the bottom just yet. And I think the reason that I did it this way is because I'm foreseeing having to go and delete some of this to go with my cut line going off of those illuminated blocks there. But this stuff that I'm doing right here, this is not hard because I'm just following my rule. I'm going with my cut line. I'm following my pattern. And as long as you're following your pattern, you're in good shape. Again, no mistakes can be made. So I say a lot of times you just got to pay attention to what you're doing. That's the best way I can describe it. But that last row that we just started working on, you're going to want to bring that up to the next cut line, but only on the top side. I don't believe we're going to be doing the bottom side. And this way you'll be caught up with me, so that this way we can get into episode 32. We can just jump right into it. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for me today. I just want to thank you all again for tuning in today's episode, and if you did enjoy this content, please help me out, hit that like and subscribe button, helping me in supporting the channel. And honestly, it really helps my analytics, and it helps more people be able to see this channel So if you want to be able to help me grow the channel, if you could just take a moment to do that, I appreciate you guys so much. There's a lot of cool content coming forward. We've got Voyager Season 2, as well as the Enterprise D Season 2 coming up eventually, the Excelsior 2 class, and then also the Enterprise A 2.0 once we hit 1,000 subscribers. So a lot of awesome stuff coming up in the future. I can't wait to get into it. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for me. I just want to thank you all again. I hope everybody has a happy and safe week, and I'll catch you in the next episode. And what did you make in Minecraft today? Let me know in the comments section. Post your photos in Discord.